Hi, everybody. Welcome to Real Siblings It Ain't Easy, a podcast that just ain't typical. I'm Donna. This is my brother Eric, and I'm pointing over there. Yeah, Real Siblings. We are both professional realtors with Keller Williams. And for your reference, I'm a baby boomer. I know you find that hard to believe. Eric is Gen X.
Gen
And
X.
today we have a visitor.
Hey, who's that guy?
Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Caleb. I'm her son, his nephew, and I'm a millennial.
A millennial. Oof.
Yeah.
Officially, you're a late millennial, though, right?
I
Are you mid?
think so. I might be middle to late. I think it went like 5 years after me.
Okay. And then it became Gen Z, right? We did X millennial Zs.
X, millennial, Z, new.
Alpha.
Or
So,
whatever the latest.
so anyway, as the opening of this podcast, we do blend lifestyle with real estate, and we work to communicate, educate, connect, and entertain our listeners. The topics vary. We go in a lot of different directions, and we hope that we also provide some insight into the industry, which better equips you for your next real estate transaction. With that being said, Eric, we have these beautiful artistic visions behind us. Look, I gotta lean so you can see the whole family. Okay, everybody that's listening and not watching, they're gonna have no idea what we just did. So what are we doing here, brother?
Well, number one is we're recording for the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
It's a good grief. Life has been happening. And part of our life that's been happening is we did not do a good job planning for hitting the road to get together with the family back in the hometown of Lindsey, Ohio.
Yeah.
We made the trek, if you remember, going all the way back to summer of 2023. We did an episode speaking to 5 different friends, associates from the hometown of Lindsey, Ohio, talking about what was then the first annual Lindsey Sunflower Festival and Homecoming event. And this was year 3. We decided that we were going to shake things up, rework our schedule, what we normally did, and everybody loaded up the truck and they moved back to, well, not Lindsey. We actually went to Fremont, right?
Beverly Hillbillies, is that where we loaded up the
That
truck?
was the reference there. Thank you.
Wow.
Did the millennial get that reference?
Yeah, I got it. After she explained it, I didn't know you were ready.
Okay.
But I've seen the Beverly Hillbillies, if that's what you mean.
Yep. So in the picture behind me, it is everybody that was there that was part of our family. We had been doing family reunions kind of in various places. And this year we did meet back in Ohio. And I think if listeners know, they know that our town was quite small. So there was not a place in Lindsey to house, were there 19 of us or something like that finally that wound
Yeah,
up?
by the time Netherlands was in and
Cousins.
Colorado was in and
Yeah.
portions of various families from Kansas and
Yeah.
Texas and around, yeah, it got cozy.
2% of the population of Lindsey.
That's it, 2%. Donna always claimed that your mom, Donna, jeez, always claimed that when she left, the population went down by 1.
Yeah.
So
499 people when
I
I
guess
wasn't
our
home.
19 people would be 2% or thereabouts.
Yeah. Eric, as I said, I'm going to throw it to you so you can talk about this. Just saying we were in Fremont is kind of an interesting thing based on where we stayed, right? So as we talk about houses, we stayed at probably the largest place in Fremont, don't you think?
Certainly outside of President Hayes
Yeah, the
and
famous
some
presidential
of
home.
the houses there on Burchard,
Yeah.
in and around that area. Yes, certainly one of the older and largest, and certainly what we used to consider a largest state.
Right.
Um,
Right. And we all
Once
stayed in
we
the
actually
same
got there
place.
and getting some of this, what's that?
And we all stayed in the same place.
Yeah, which is very nice. And it was not a hotel. It has
Right.
gotten to be very, very important. We don't know how any of you travel, But when we get together, what's the point of everybody going to someplace and having their own rooms and going to hide in their rooms and making it difficult to sit and visit or anything like that? Even if you have a nice hotel that has some sort of a lobby gathering area, generally you can't laugh, you can't cut up, you can't do those kind of things because you have to be polite and the other guests that may be coming and going and in and out of swimming pools and breakfast
Yeah.
nooks and all that kind of stuff. So this worked incredibly well. Christie House on Christie Road, in which is now owned by my high school classmates and bandmates and
That's amazing.
good friend to reconnect with, Chris Robinette and his wife.
Shout out to Chris.
They've owned it for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
Caleb, what were you thinking?
What was I thinking?
Shout out to
Yeah,
Chris.
you-
Said shout out to Chris.
Yeah.
There you go. That's it. That's the shout out. And
And the Christies owned a manufacturing company in town and employed many people for years. And before we moved to Arizona, that place was being used by artists and things like that. And it's now been torn down. The building doesn't exist anymore. But one of the things that we found while we were there when Chris was showing us around was he had that drawer in, I don't know what room that was, like a library.
yeah, I would say that the formal breakfast area.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
there was the kitchen, there was kind of the smaller dining room, and then there was the formal dining room that we all
Right.
went
Right.
around to. So
Some of the knives and things that they had made. Were you there when we were doing that tour? Did you get to see
No.
that? It was pretty fascinating to go back and see what they had made and how they had originally made their name, especially since Fremont Gill, his dad, worked at a cutlery place, and there was another place that made bows and arrows, made the arrows and the blades for the arrows. But yeah,
Lindsey sounds like a fake place as you describe it. This is not a real place that people live with their
Well,
bow and
it's
arrow
interesting.
manufacturers.
as you get around small towns
Yeah.
where it's like, look, if they can do it, we can do it too.
yeah,
And what was the founder of Cutco? The part that we didn't get was the founder of Cutco, someone who used to work with the Christies,
could have been.
doing knives, cutlery, razors, razor blades. I mean, this was premier manufacturing at the time, going all the way back to the 19th century into the early 20th century, the conversion, the razor blades, the special packaging.
Yep. Yeah.
None of it exists anymore.
Yeah.
What era was the Christie house? Is that colonial? Is that something that I don't know the words for?
No. Okay. So while we were there, Caleb, there was a panographic photo, which in and of itself was pretty astounding. Going back, I think that photo was 1919, if I'm remembering it right.
Yeah.
And it was a company picnic out at the Christie house.
Yeah.
That house was torn down. This is a new generation house. So
Oh, okay.
Christie's the original. This was the second one. So it was early 20th century. It sounded like it was built sometime in the 1920s. Because one of the key features that Chris pointed out to us from or on the tour, which I just found fascinating,
I want to see what you say.
was the bootlegging.
Yes,
Space
where
on
they
the
hid
stairs.
the booze.
Yeah. So there was an area, as big as the house was, no matter where I served my guests, it seems they liked my kitchen best. The
Right.
kitchen was, we all kind of huddled around, constantly in and out, grabbing waters, grabbing snacks, grabbing whatever. There were three staircases off of the kitchen. And one of them comes down. You actually could come in from the outside straight into the downstairs area on this big house. And as you came down that set of stairs, there was a landing, and that had been rigged, worked with gears, old window weights, so that you could basically lift it with fingertips. 6 of the stairs would pop up, and underneath it was where the Christies kept all of their booze during Prohibition.
Yeah, he showed us
Yes.
on the tour. Yeah.
I was picking up my wife at the airport. I didn't get to do it. It's awesome.
Yeah, the mere fact that it's like, oh, temperance was a thing. This was Ohio. We were not the big cities, and to think that certainly one of the wealthiest families in the city at that point, had a supply so that when they entertained on the holidays or weekends like that, they could serve a cordial or a
So-
beverage or an old fashioned or something.
Eric, so the thing that,
Back then, was it just called a fashioned?
It probably was just fashioned. It was fashionable.
Ayo.
The thing that, one of the things that I remember, and because we're going to see Downton Abbey, it made me think about this. So the fact that they had maids and people who assisted them, I actually slept upstairs in one of those rooms that was right off the kitchen. But they also had ways to ring bells in different rooms to bring those people to come help them. And so there was one in the main room, the living room, that was
Yes.
like on a big pole, like it looked. Well, I didn't notice it. I saw the decoration on the wall, but I didn't know that's what it
You
was.
saw it was there, but you did not realize initially looking at it that was a pull to notify the servants to come in to refresh or clean something
Did
up
you
or do
see
something
that?
I
along
knew
those
what it
lines.
was because of Downton Abbey, actually.
Yeah.
In one of
Did
the-
you really?
in the
From the
opening
first
credit sequence
episode
they
where
show.
the bells are all ringing downstairs and it's like, oh, my lady needs me.
Yeah.
Well, and then the one in the kitchen, so two of them worked. So he showed us them working and how we could turn them off. And what I thought was just really interesting was the woman that stayed with them the longest, who outlived most of them, they said, she was quite short. So in order to reset it, she had to stand up on a bench or a chair to push the button. And eventually they moved that button down lower so that she did not have to stand on a stool or a bench
To accommodate her.
to accommodate her. And then they said she lived to be like 94, 95 years old. And
Yes,
that was just-
and the house, again, just to give you an indication for the listeners what we're talking about from a size or an opulent standpoint. The kitchen went into two different butler pantries.
right.
There was the large butler pantry that served and came around to the main dining room, and there was a smaller butler pantry area that served that kind of morning breakfast area. Remember where the refrigerators were at, Caleb?
I don't think I realized that's what it was.
Yeah, that would be considered a butler's pantry. And then you had the bigger one. And again, one of the unique features was that huge cast iron enameled sink, which had what in it? Probably the oldest dishwasher I've ever seen. They had some sort of secondary sink that they could seal a lid up with. It looked almost like it had a disposal underneath the sink. It was like, what the heck? Man, these folks had money if they were doing dishes
That
with
way.
some sort of steam, whatever.
There's also something to be said for the architecture that is not just old, but also Eastern, which is the idea of open concept stuff is such a different new idea. So the kitchen was a nice kitchen, but not huge, right?
Right.
And the butler
Correct.
pantry were not huge. The singular dining room, the big one, was quite large.
It fit all.
Still a closed off room though, where they had a hallway to the next space. So even though it was a big space, it was still a singular location. And I think every room feels smaller because they're single rooms as opposed to a lot of interconnected rooms as a big space. And
All right, since I haven't been to your place in Colorado, your new place,
Mhm.
is it more of what you consider to be an open concept since you're bringing it up?
No, it's vertically built, but I think if I took out a wall, it would connect a bunch of rooms. The kitchen does connect to the dining room. And there's like
Okay, directly. So it's not a pass through, it's not a bar or anything like that. It's like kitchen dining room.
but it's also smaller because the house goes vertically. So it's open, but still small because of
It's a tri-level. So it's got 3 levels, which makes none of them particularly huge because
Right.
it's not a huge house.
Right. So it is what, 15, 20 foot wide at most? Or is it even that?
I don't know how wide it is.
I don't know, this much.
It's got a big tree out front and the tree looks to be 12 or 15 feet wide.
The
So
tree is huge. I'd say like if you're facing the house forward, there's a garage and a living room. And the living room it's like a long way. So 2-car garage and a room, 30 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's an interesting observation because from the big dining room, like you said, there was a little bit of a connector room and then back out into that huge area where we were playing Jenga and the fireplace and the bell. and that went into another big room that
The porch.
I always would have
Those
thought
had to have
was
been added later. Those are like
it.
later adjustments, right?
I no, I don't think so because of the way the house was built. If it had been the original house that had some modifications, the two-story mansard roof building from the 19th century, then yes, I think it would have been an addition. But I think it was planned and intentional. And what we might be now be referred to as a Florida room probably
Yeah.
was referred to as a solarium,
Yeah.
Cool word.
and had that fountain, which doesn't look like it ever had water,
Yeah.
or at
That's
least not
true.
working water anytime soon or recently.
Eric, since we have Caleb here, and it was the first time he had been back to Lindsey or Fremont with his wife, I wanted to ask him a couple of things because I've been back more than everybody else. I have gone back the most. I lived there the longest. I have the most connections.
Show off.
Caleb, so when you went back there, you wanted to walk around town, and you wanted to show Jessica specific things. What were some of those things that were memories for you? Mind you all, we left when he started 8th grade out here.
So it's like 12.
Yeah.
I mean, there were a couple highlights of our hometown. It's weird when you want to show somebody something that is not actually impressive to see, but kind of matters for your history. So Lindsey does have, I would say, 2 locations that are of note. One is the Trestle Bridge. We had a very cool bridge over a river, which we called the Crick, and everybody played in the Crick and walked on the bottom of the trestle and played games on the side of it where we should have all died. There's like very much, it's a dangerous location over a river that trains used to go over and has since been paved and made safe. It's not as cool now that it's safe, honestly. The other one is the cemetery because it's a small cemetery that's a lot of very old families. And even Jessica started noticing, like, oh, look at all the Overmeyers. Look at all the Hasses or Roushes. She started getting the, and I was like, and this is, I wanted to see it to show her my grandfather's tombstone. But it is a very small town cemetery, which I think you don't get that vibe in cities in general, which is you kind of pick a plot. If you're lucky, you have a church you're associated with that, like, where you want to go. But I don't think a lot of people my age have a thing like that. I think cremations become more popular.
No, I agree, but I think Lindsey's unique because there were multiple cemeteries in Fremont. People didn't go to the cemetery just to go. We rode our bikes down there. Well,
Yeah,
it sounds
there.
silly, but people would come into, let's go take a walk, and you always walk down to the cemetery, not necessarily to put flowers, not to remember. It was a place. It was a place to go, not for everybody. There were Memorial Day services and there were church events, and obviously there were funerals there, but it was not, we're going to the cemetery. Of course we're going to walk to the cemetery. Everybody, and who does that in other places?
And maybe it's more common in small towns than we're aware, right? But now that you say it, you are correct. We spent time there just because kids went there to climb on these like large columns. The creek kept going behind the cemetery.
Yep.
So I raced like soda bottles in the creek with my friends a lot. The Mountain Dew in the 90s had a swirl on the front and was definitely the fastest because of the swirl.
Yeah, because of the swirl. All right. See, there's a memory.
I did not know this occurred.
This happened like a lot.
I always learn things when I'm listening.
Ice skating down there, sledding down the hill.
Yep. I think the other things I wanted to show Jessica, but are just all in town, is the church, because it's a beautiful old brick church. And then you see the houses you are in. But I think the overall vibe for me was getting her to understand how small it was.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's no reason for her to want to see my hometown besides the fact that she loves me, right? There's nothing there to go see. But walking around, I'm like, no, this like really affected who I am as a person in ways I can't like describe.
Yeah.
But I think she could sense the excitement from me. I'm like, and this is where the trees we planted were. And this is a different tree that we planted for my grandfather. And these are trees that I climbed on and fell out of. Like, I talked about way more trees.
I fell on that curb, right?
Yes.
I was skateboarding. I fell. Oh man, you should see this one on my leg. No,
And I hope everyone's as nostalgic for their childhood locales the same way. But I know that my friends in the desert who are playing in the desert in Tucson were not doing this same thing.
That's true.
It's not the same. The ability to walk around my whole town in an hour with Jessica, and she was like, it was really hot. It was incredibly
It
sweet.
was,
But besides that, I was like, we did it. We saw the whole town. This is everything.
you also saw people that you had grown up with. So one of the things is that I think as children, your first friends might be your family, or if you live in a place with a lot of cousins, and a lot of people in that town had cousins and had families. We were one of the only families that were there for 40 years and gone. Like the people running the meetings and running the things have 150 years of history. So to go back and see one of your friends, Joey, and his dad was our doctor and stuff. Joe is married with three kids.
Three kids.
Three kids,
Shout
and
out Joe Diller, my childhood friend,
yes, and
yeah.
so
and his wife Kellen, who I met.
yeah, and so to see those people that stayed there, that have lived their lives there, and built a house back, kind of on his
Yeah.
dad's property.
Dad built a house when I was in kindergarten. Joey built a house later.
Yeah.
Probably Joseph. at this
Probably
point.
those, yeah, who knows? So seeing those people is also just an interesting experience. And Eric, I don't know what you're looking at right now, but you must have got a text or something.
No, I'm actually trying to pick up my phone to reference. It was episode 26 that we had talked to Ryan and Andrea and Russ and Daryl and had the conversation
About how
about
many years?
the why and how many, and that's when there was a reference of so many years.
Yeah.
So many years that
Between the
Andrea,
three of them, they had like 300 years of history in the town or something crazy.
and
yeah,
while we certainly didn't feel
You
like
weren't
transients
outsiders.
or unwelcome, I mean, we were part of
yeah,
the makeup of Lindsey while we were there.
right.
But we have all left, and we don't have that legacy of the cousin who still lives down here in great uncle's house that was also this and those kind of things that we do have and are missing that.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, I mean, this is a podcast of positivity. I don't fit in there. And I think about that where I'm like, I love showing this to Jessica, and people are so kind to me and I have such positive memories, and I cannot imagine living there now. And maybe part of it is because I left, but I think Adam, for example, was never going to fit in Lindsay, Ohio. As
He's
an
a
adult.
city kid.
And
Yeah.
I'm much more a city kid, and I just things like Broadway theater or big punk bands coming through the and like that's
Like the
small
latest
stuff that is-
Coheed concert or any.
yeah, that's not important to truly like life happiness, right? I don't have to see concerts to have a worthwhile life. However, I've decided that seeing Broadway shows matters to me. And I know people there who do theater and they travel to Toledo or whatever to see these shows.
Yeah.
But it's pretty ingrained in my life that like being paid to do theater is something I do. And I see concerts. And it's different if you say you want to see Journey when they come through because they go everywhere.
They're going to be in Detroit.
They're going
or
to be in
Toledo.
Detroit.
They're going to be
Versus, I want to see a band that has 100 fans. And it's like, I can see them in Phoenix because it's Phoenix. And that was an hour drive. But, or I can see them in Denver anywhere because every band goes to Denver regardless.
Because everybody goes to Denver. Yeah, I remember Adam talking about that. It's the stopping point or launching point to the Midwest and to the East.
Between Chicago and LA.
Yeah. It's what else is there? Cheyenne, Wyoming, Omaha,
Kansas City.
There are cities, but emotionally it does feel like Denver's like the midway and there's not as many things. So because I do know that even seeing Lindsey now, I'm like, I'm glad I grew up here. I had a great childhood. And I don't want to live there. I don't want to be in that town. And I think it's important to know that there's no one way to like have a home and have a lifestyle. Yep. I have lost the ability to have a legacy, but would I be unhappy with that legacy if I felt stuck there? That's a interesting.
Well, when at one point when the big house, Grandpa and Grandma's house, Mom and Dad's, our house was. We knew it was available and it was kind of an auction. We all kicked it around. Then part of the answer on that was not a single one of us in our lifestyle and circumstances could see ourselves going back to Lindsey
To live there and work.
anymore.
I'd go write my memoirs for like a season if I had a house, right?
Yeah.
Okay, do one of those 3 month and you're gonna.
Right.
It's like I'm taking a writer's break and I'm gonna be inspired by the hometown and
Like Stephen King at the Overlook.
Yeah.
yes,
Hey,
okay.
unrelated, but Caleb just told Adam and I, what play are you going to be in
I'm
January?
gonna be in Spamalot as Patsy. Oh,
Is-
No!
we can't post this yet. That's a secret still.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get to do that the whole time. It's gonna be
Yes!
exciting.
Not that I know who that is, but I know who that is.
Yeah.
So, and I have to say, one of the things that we've talked Fremont, we talked Chrissy, it kind of in Lindsey, but the day of the event, he said it was
So popular.
sweltering heat, as hot as San Antonio can get. It was about as hot and uncomfortable a
Hot
day as
and
I think.
sweaty.
Yeah, where my wife, who's from Tucson, was like, I've never been so miserable.
Well, and I'm laughing when I look at the picture. Eleanor in the turquoise shirt there, she's got her hair up under a hat. Everybody had their hair pulled back. That was, and honestly,
Me too.
when I got to do the book speech in the church, I felt like people who came might have just come for the air conditioning.
Oh, they
It's
did.
a marketing technique that's a real.
Yeah, look, we were actually saying that. It's like the air conditioning's going to be on. Come on over.
Booths at conventions where they give you free water.
Yeah.
It's like, I'll take your business card if I may have that water bottle.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the other thing was seeing people. It
Yeah.
really was. And honestly, we have done this. This podcast for going on 100 episodes now. We have been producing and talking about and having, and we know we have people who listen. We have some, I'll say, regular listeners. But to actually have the conversation face to face when Linda Epley came up and she made sure, and I apparently missed her the first time, and Jeannie's like, that lady's trying to get your attention. And I went up and she's like, oh my gosh, listening to you two talk about Lindsey and where you're at is so inspiring. To hear our cousin Amy, who's going, you haven't had any new episodes for a while. I didn't have anything to listen to on the drive up.
Kelly just told us that. She asked us because we haven't done it for.
I
Yeah.
don't want to say that there's music on the iPhone, but you can.
You could listen
But
to
there's not us.
That's true. That's true.
unless I just record and sing or something, you know.
Which go ahead, go to wherever you listen to podcasts, Caleb. Type in siblings and see who comes up. We compete with a brother and sister
Marie.
team, Kate Hudson
Oh yeah.
and her brother doing sibling rivalry.
Okay.
It's so close. We are right there now.
Yeah, you're in direct competition.
with
1 and 2 by about 50,000 listens or something.
Can I say one last thing? Because
Yes.
we're wrapping
Yeah.
up.
you certainly may. That's why we brought you on.
I hate to reference another show, but there's a joke about Gilmore Girls about how the small town in Gilmore Girls always has like events and how it's like, ooh, everyone comes out and it's this idyllic town on TV where it's truly like it's a town. It's supposed to be a town of like 1,000 people, but it seems like 30,000 people attend their festival. And Lindsey used to have the Chili Festival,
Right.
which was always at the school, which
Right.
has been since torn down. So it does feel like Lindsey had to consciously decide to have something to bring people in. So they made the Sunflower Festival, and it sounds
And
like
that's what Andrea felt
And-
like.
and-
Andrea, as a legacy member there,
and it works. It was so popular and a wonderful reason to visit this town that doesn't have other reasons to visit. There's no like cool restaurant that you go to in
Right.
Lindsey, right? So them consciously deciding to have this, and if they did this 4 times a year, if there was a seasonal event, winter might be harder. I could see people from all around that region consciously going to it. And it's
and I
still
can't
very
do it this
successful.
year, but I do intend to talk to the current mayor, who is Ann,
Yeah.
and suggest
Really?
one of my friends from church. We didn't go to the same school, grade school, but then in Fremont together, Rick Nip. has a team of horses, and we talked when he came through San Antonio that we need to get together so that I can put on my red suit at the holidays and be drawn through. I
Oh,
think it's a
do you
perfect
own a red
opportunity.
suit?
Yeah, my
Just the
other
one?
yeah.
Okay.
I've got that shirt. That's going to be a video for the IG channel. To do a parade through downtown, the little town that I live next to here, honestly, is population of about Fremont, but they put together a mile-long parade route, maybe not even that long. It brings in thousands of people, food trucks, and all they do is have different clubs, different floats, different. I mean, the Shriners coming through
Yeah.
in their little cars that they used to run in Memorial Day parades and things like that, and do that through downtown. And I would rework my schedule to make that work. But it was
Eric,
also the people that I didn't expect to see.
we got 4 minutes. You got to wrap this up, brother.
Okay, the people I didn't expect to see.
Yeah.
Other high school classmates who were not from Lindsey, who came out from Fremont or other towns, Findlay, Tiffin, to come back up to Lindsey
5 minutes
when it wasn't even their place. It's like
Yeah.
that
Same
was
with my
unexpected
classmates.
to me.
All right,
So-
we'll do part 1 or 2 depending on when we can post this based on what he told us. We might have to reconfigure.
Yeah,
the
this
order
is this will be part 1, and then we'll do part 2, and we'll name episodes. And
sure.
thanks everybody for joining us and listening. And Caleb, thanks for flying all the way down from Denver
just for this.
to Tucson to sit in your mom's room with Lindsey behind you.
I could have
talking
zoomed
about-
it, but I had to fly.
This is definitely the memory lane. We talk about the fact that this is real estate and lifestyle, and this is definitely lifestyle episode. And it is interesting having the next generation down from us sitting here in the podcast chamber.
I'm the next generation, which means I'm Captain Picard.
Okay.
I win.
I don't know. I see you more as number 1.
Okay, fine.
Eric, come on, brother.
Come on. We want to thank y'all for joining us and listening. We're going to come back. We're going to talk more about this because it was a lot of fun getting back into town and seeing people, places, things. The adventure getting to and from there driving was quite the thing too. So we'll have a chance to talk about that. Remember, we're both professional real estate agents. Donna's in Tucson. I'm in San Antonio. We both work for Keller Williams brokerages. Donna's with Keller Williams Southern Arizona. I am with Keller Williams Heritage. I also do farm and ranch. If you have questions or a need in our specific area, reach out, give us a call. Our contact information is on every single podcast episode we do. If you have a referral or a need somewhere around the country, reach out to us. We can help refer you to our extensive network of agents somewhere around the country. Remember, maybe simple, ain't always easy. I'm Eric.
I'm Donna.
I'm Caleb.
And we
And
are
2 of us are siblings, and 1 of us is.
Happy to be here.
wow. Way to wrap it up.
That's the way we close it down. Thanks all.
Ay, ay, ay.